course, you also need to know where you are now if you want to get to somewhere else. That's why the challenges, the tests, are so important when you're trying to improve your abilities, because they tell you where your abilities are at the current time, what level you're at now. In essence, they tell you where to start, and tests are important throughout the course of your training, because every point in your training is a new starting point. They can also give you confidence in the direction you're taking. If you've progressed towards your goals, then you will see this through testing your capabilities. As an alternative, they can also show you which parts need to change if you haven't improved towards your goals. It is an irony of modern life that is highlighted by parkour, that unfortunately you need to be told that in the end you can work things out for yourself. The media can be both a help and a hindrance in this. It can communicate this message to millions, but it can also distort this message. When the information is distorted, unfortunately not only do people not learn about how things actually are, they're also fooled into thinking that they do understand things. And this is a danger that is with all of us everywhere we go in the modern world. Information is provided to us by people with a vested interest, and invariably this vested interest is the pursuit of money, which is not necessarily the same as our goal. Either these people want to charge us for the information, or they want us to part with the money in exchange for some other service. The only exception to this rule are the people who honestly think that the message itself is more important than any other goal, again, usually money. However, it's virtually impossible to tell these people apart from the rest, so it's safest to assume, where you don't know otherwise, that everybody has a different agenda to your own. But hey, don't take our word for it. The reason this is important in parkour is that by finally admitting responsibility for our own choices, we realise that we need to have something solid to base our choices on. Having just explained that few sources of information are reliable, the emphasis must now clearly be on us to find our own information and to test theories ourselves. And once we're put into a situation where we need to rely on our own capabilities, we quickly realise that we need capability in a wide range of areas to be truly capable in one. Simply to cover the fundamental capabilities you need for parkour, making accurate decisions and taking some form of effective action, you end up training such a range of fundamental skills that you improve your ability in almost every aspect of life. It's difficult, maybe even pointless, for us to try and tell you, watching this film, exactly what life contains and how best to deal with it. This is something that we all learn simply through experiencing life, and life as a whole is something that we continue to learn more about right up until the day we die. There's no way a short film can tell you more about life than the experiences that you've had already in life. Equally, we could sit here for hours trying to list all of the benefits you can get from parkour, and even then it probably wouldn't be a complete list, because parkour is something that affects each person in a slightly different way. Each person develops a slightly different set of skills based on their own strengths and weaknesses, and their own goals. When you get right down to it, parkour is something that you practice and experience on a very personal and individual level, and although we can share with you the experiences that are common to us all, the only way you can truly understand parkour is to practice it yourself. As a final piece then, we're going to turn you over to some of the practitioners featured in this film for some final insights into their own training and how it's changed them.
I used to get up in the morning and smoke a cigarette or smoke a spliff, but now I get up and I better myself and maybe just do a few chin-ups or something, just anything just to better myself. And instead of eating, so I'd get up and I'd just eat whatever was in the fridge, like a cold pizza or something, but now I think exactly like what I'm putting into my body.
I've just become much more health conscious as I've sort of become, as I've done more parkour and more general fitness training. I've just become much more conscious of what I eat and just my general diet and lifestyle, just trying to control how much like obvious junk I eat and trying to get more of the good stuff.
When I started, it was just sort of just a new exciting thing that I was doing, and I didn't really take it seriously or anything. But then as I got into it, it really started to become less a part of my life and more my life, really.
For me, myself, I've always jumped around as a kid. I've always climbed. I've got recollections of like competitions of balancing along rails of when I was like 10 years old, and this is what I've always done, always loved. And I've always loved to push myself, I always loved a challenge, and I love physical activity. And that's kind of why I've got into parkour.
parkour's had a really positive effect on my mind. It's had a positive effect on my confidence and just general life, just being able to believe in myself. That because I used to consider myself a bit of a scaredy cat before things, and now when I look, like, if I think about what I'm doing now, I think like maybe like a year back, I wouldn't dream of ever doing like that, like jumping here or like climbing up this. And then I think to myself, now I do it, and it really it gives you confidence and makes you realise like what you've achieved.
You just work to be pushing your own limits. So obviously people whose limits are much more advanced do more advanced stuff, but they're still just train. You just train in your comfort zone, but then you're pushing like further and further. And I think that it's a similar way for everyone, no matter what level you're at, really.
At the moment, I feel there's not too many techniques that I'm unsure on, and I feel like I've got sort of a technical backpack to quote someone else. Now my training is focused on using that technique faster and stronger, and I feel my training is just all about getting stronger and getting faster.
Absolutely, it's completely transformed my demeanour. Like I was really hunched and skinny and didn't have any confidence before I started, but through conditioning and parkour and like the people I've met through parkour and the things I've learned, it's changed my confidence and everything a lot.
I'm terrified of old age and sort of like losing my physical abilities, so I'm gonna really try and keep it up as long as physically possible.
Ambitions really, I just want to train parkour, just be happy. That's what I want to do.
In this documentary so far, we've explained a lot of the different parts of parkour, but really you're not going to understand any of it unless you understand the core of parkour, and that's the strength of the practitioner. We know we can get past any obstacle, we firmly believe that in our hearts. It doesn't matter if it's big obstacle, small obstacle, whatever obstacle. If we're not strong enough, we can get stronger. If we're not fast enough, we can get faster. If we're not clever enough, we can learn, we can improve. If we need time, then as long as we're alive, we've got time. Whatever the obstacle is, we know we can get past it. When there's nothing limiting you, when you know you can get past any limit, then really all that life has to offer is open to you. Whatever you want to do, you can do. It's just a question of choosing what it is you want to do. There's no guarantees in life of any kind other than you can learn from what you do. Do something, learn from it, and you'll get better at doing it. It's as simple as that. Keep trying it enough, keep practicing it, and you'll get there, you'll achieve it. Keep challenging yourself. Learn from all of your experiences, and whatever you want to do, you can do. So get out there, do it, try it.
D-A-M, 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 D-A-M.
Okay, so in the documentary so far, we've explained quite a lot about parkour, but really you're not going to take 4,002.
The arm jump is usually more often than not it's from a standing start, and you'll aim to never bring a phone when filming.